Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, March 21st, 2022, and we are going to be reading an article from thechristianpost.com, and I just saw this weekend, and I thought that this would be a good time for me to go ahead and discuss it because this is kind of a new article, a new issue that was posted on the or a pretty recent topic, I would just say, that's been posted on this particular website, and I think this news kind of broke over the weekend. Could be wrong about it, but I'm just now seeing it. Anyway, it reads: Disney employees, former judge among 108 arrested in Florida, trafficking sting, quote, deviant criminals. Now, one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that the human sex trafficking, that I would say that this is an epidemic, right? And I don't think that people understand how deep this goes, and the people who are wrapped up in this. You know what I'm saying? On both sides. You know, the victims, and you have those who are the perpetrators, right? But one thing that I do want to kind of point out is that as you guys look at this mugshot, or these mugshots in particular, it's not just one group of men or one type of group of men. Like, for instance, you don't just see a bunch of white men on here. You don't just see all Asian men or all Hispanic man, whatever. Like, these are a multi-ethnic group of people who are engaged in these evil acts. You know, just like I always say in a lot of my videos, we are living in the end times, to where some of the most unthinkable, unimaginable things that about 20 years ago, like, this would be national news. Sex trafficking sting, with Disney employees and the judge involved. I mean, this will be breaking news all over. But nowadays, there's a lot of these stories, believe it or not, that are not making it to the headlines. You know what I'm saying? And I don't really watch much TV, so I don't know if this is being covered by, like, some of the main media outlets like Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or something like that. Most likely they're probably not going to cover this because they're so busy with the whole Ukraine war and all of that stuff. Those are the things that actually get them ratings and get a lot of people watching and all of that stuff. But a lot of times they're quiet about stuff like this. But anyway, let's go back to these mug shots. And you can see that there was a lot of people, once again, it's a multi-ethnic group of people. Like I see a couple of guys who look like that they are of Middle Eastern descent. Like, for instance, you got this guy, Naeem Yassin. You got another guy, Shabahim Malav. And then, of course, you got black men like this guy, Tristan Watson. And you have Trent Logan, another black guy. And then you have some of these white guys like this one guy named Kyle Stroll, Kenneth Cowdermarsh. Just to kind of name some of these people to show you the diversity in this evil act. They also have a juvenile. Now, of course, they can't put this person's mugshot up here, but they also had a juvenile involved. And I'm pointing this out because this is something that is going on, and a lot of us we're just totally oblivious to it. And some of these people may be working with us on our jobs. Some of these people may be the judges that we that we go and see in court. So this is a pretty serious issue. But anyway, enough of my rambling. Let's go ahead and get into this article. It says a Disney resort lifeguard, 3 other Disney employees, and a retired judge were among 108 people arrested in a 6-day undercover human trafficking operation in Florida that uncovered for child predators. On March 8th, the Polk County Sheriff's Office Vice Unit led, quote, Operation March Sadness 2, end quote, in conjunction with other law enforcement agencies and anti-human trafficking agencies in the area. Detectives identified prostitutes who posted online advertisements, individuals seeking out the prostitutes, and adults who engaged in online sexually charged communications with those they believed were children, the sheriff's office said. Undercover detectives then communicated online with these suspects before meeting them in person and arresting them. Members of anti-trafficking organizations also participated in the operation, speaking with prostitutes and offering them services and counseling. Among the individuals arrested, several, quote, stood out, end quote, according to the sheriff's office. These included 4 men discovered to be preying on children online, including Xavier Jackson, a 27-year-old male who worked as a lifeguard at Walt Disney World's Polynesian Resort. So here's a man who's working at a theme park which is geared towards attracting young children, and here he is praying to children online while having a job that requires him to be around children. Some of these people are right there in their own backyards. And like I said before, a lot of people don't understand how big this sex trafficking thing is. This is an epidemic. You guys think that this whole pandemic thing, this whole COVID-19 thing is just, one of the worst pandemics ever. I mean, this child sex trafficking thing is way worse than that. Way worse. But let's continue to read. Jackson reportedly sent inappropriate photos of himself and messages to an undercover detective who pretended to be a 14-year-old girl. Other Disney employees charged with attempting to solicit a prostitute were identified as Wilkinson Fidel, 24, who worked at the Cosmic Restaurant at Walt Disney World's Tomorrowland for 4 years. Shubham Malav, 27, who is on a citizenship visa from India and worked as a software developer for Disney. So this man is not even over here legally. Wow. And Ralph Leese, 45, who worked in IT for Disney. They told CBS News that Leese, Fidel, and Jackson have been placed on unpaid leave and said Malav is not an employee of the company at this time. Quote, the arrest of human trafficker and 4 child predators alone makes this whole operation worthwhile, end quote, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said in a statement. And I am glad, and I am thankful of those who are working diligently to get these type of people off the street, because I got young kids myself, and I got kids who do play games online, and they are online, so even outside of games, certain websites that they go to for things such as homeschooling, and not only that, just being, I mean, it's just so easy for people to reach out to our children nowadays, and it's scary. But I'm so glad that there are people that are working to put an end to this. Let's continue to read. Quote, the online prostitution industry enables traffickers and victimizes those who are being trafficked. Our goal is to identify the victims, offer them help, and find and arrest those who are profiting from the exploitation of human beings. While there is prostitution, there is exploitation, disease, dysfunction, and broken families, end quote. There is a guy named Jaco Booyens, if I'm saying his name correctly, but he is a guy who basically gives his story about how his sister was trafficked. and how she was a singer, and her parents allowed her to sign with this particular record label, and they allowed her to basically go on tour and try to promote herself. And the whole time, I think she was trafficked for about 6 years or something like that. And he said when she came back, she was just a totally different person. She tried to commit suicide many occasions. You know, their families were just broken, just trying to deal with the trauma and the PTSD from what she experienced. Just dealing with all of that, it really took a toll on them. But in short, she did come to the faith, and she is married with kids and stuff like that. But he said that it was a process. So this thing does break up a lot of families. But let's continue to read. Additional individuals highlighted by the sheriff's office included a married father of 8 who left his child at a soccer game to meet a prostitute, an adult woman who threatened violence against another woman if she didn't prostitute herself, and a 66-year-old former judge. So this man left his kid's soccer game to go hook up with a hooker, basically. At a press conference, Judd called those arrested for preying on children, quote, evil, deviant criminals, thugs, end quote, adding, quote, they're dangerous people, end quote. Quote, what amazes me is we can do another operation starting next week and fill this board up again, he said. And be sure of one thing. These chiefs and I will do just that. We'll be back. And if you violate the law, we're going to take you to jail. That's a guarantee, end quote. According to the International Labor Organization, human trafficking is a $150 billion, with a B, $150 billion industry worldwide. The 2021 Trafficking in Persons report notes that the COVID-19 pandemic heightened the issue as, quote, human traffickers quickly adapted to capitalize on the vulnerabilities exposed and exacerbated by the pandemic, end quote. And that's what I was just saying. You get a lot of these kids who were actually home more, they're online more, they're on video games, and you got a lot of these people who took advantage of that. They just took straight advantage of that. I remember when my daughter, I think she was playing one of those computer games. It may have been Roblox at the time. And she said that there were people just all the time sending her messages. You know what I'm saying? I guess posing as little kids, asking her what her name is and all of that type of stuff. And I said, don't even respond back. And then, we had to limit her time online because we didn't, we just don't want anyone, some stranger reaching out to our children. Today, due to COVID-19 restrictions, young people are spending more time online, and evidence suggests a huge spike in predators' access to children on the internet and the rise of online grooming and sexual exploitation while children are isolated and virtually connected to the world, end quote, U.S. Congressman Chris Smith said in the report. In January, 5 missing and endangered teenage girls were found, and 30 individuals were arrested as part of a recent lengthy U.S. Marshals endeavor in the New Orleans, Louisiana area known as, quote, Operation Boodat. In October, a Florida pastor and a teacher were among 125 people arrested in a 20-day human trafficking sting that resulted in the rescue of 4 women and a 17-year-old. Wow. In March 2021, authorities in Texas arrested at least 30 people pretending to buy sex and rescued a child over 3 days as part of an undercover human trafficking investigation called, quote, Operation Cupid. Aaliyah S. Chapman, a human rights lawyer and the founder of Engage Together, an organization that helps individuals and churches combat human trafficking, stressed the critical role churches play in fighting sex trafficking. Ask your local law quote, ask your local law enforcement, social service agencies, nonprofits, and direct service providers what they need in your local community, end quote, she told the Christian Post. Quote, the possibilities are endless. Just know that your church is perfectly and uniquely positioned to engage in ways that will make a difference. It does not take a huge budget or new ministry to make an impact. Starting with what you have and where you already are working is the best place to begin, end quote. That's the end of that particular article. And yeah, just like I said, man, this whole human sex trafficking thing is a lot bigger than what a lot of people think it is. I mean, just the victims that are involved and the people who are out looking for children. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. You'll be blown away by some of the stories that I've heard of some of the people who have been busted doing this. I mean, we're talking about, I've heard of principals. I think I heard a story where a principal, a janitor, and a teacher or somebody, and a parent of a child in that school were all busted on human or child sex trafficking. I mean, just crazy stuff, you know. But we have to continue to pray for those who have been victimized by this, right? I mean, it's just a sad thing, just a really, really sad thing. And, you know, what we have to continue to do, especially us as parents, is really, really pay attention. Pay attention to what your children are engaging in, the activities that they're doing online, who they're going out with. But those who are old enough to go out, know who their friends are, get to know their friends. And I mean, you know, sometimes you got to be a little old fashioned, because I mean, there's a lot of weirdos out there. I mean, I seen a video where a little girl, she was just out in her front yard, in her yard, riding her little tricycle. 6-year-old girl, guy just drives by, scoops her up, and drives off. You know what I'm saying? And you know, luckily the neighbors were around to see this happen, and they quickly called the police. And I think maybe about 10 minutes later or some cops were in the area, and they got the guy, arrested him, and returned the little girl back to her home. But you got to think about how traumatizing that is. You know, you can't even let your kids to go out in the front yard. You know, sometimes, I mean, just even me thinking about it, you know, like sometimes my kids are out in the front yard. They're just out there, you know, walking the dogs, or, you know, they're just out in the driveway, just doing kid things. And I'm just like, you know, that's not even safe anymore. You know, people used to be worried about us going to the malls and stuff and hanging out and being lured away. But now, I mean, they're just coming in, they're just snatching children. But, you know, in this time, in this season, I believe that the world is getting more and more wicked. You know, just like Jesus said, in the days of Noah, the days are going to be worse than the days of Noah. And I think that his return is soon. His return is soon. But, you know, just like the article said, you know, reach out to your church and see if there's anything that they can do to help some of these victims, you know, to help combat this evil, you know. And I mean, as Christians, I mean, it seems like we're just fighting all of these fights on different fronts. You know, we're fighting abortion, we're fighting, you know, just false doctrine, false teaching. You know, we're fighting, you know, human sex trafficking. We're just fighting so many things. I mean, it's a tough season for us as Christians, but, you know, but we have to endure. We've been commanded to endure to the end, and that's what we're going to do. So let's continue to pray for strength and prayer. But anyway, guys, you know, let me know what you guys think about this article. You know, leave it in the comment section below. And as always, like this video, rate it, share it, subscribe, hit that notifications bell. So whenever I go live or whenever I post a video, you guys will be the first ones to see it. And with that, you guys have a blessed day and enjoy the rest of your day.